The New York Times reporting that the DOJ closed an investigation into the president's border czar, Tom Homan, after he allegedly accepted a bag of cash from undercover FBI agents. Now, it should say the FBI director and the deputy attorney general say they found no evidence of wrongdoing. You're a member of the House Oversight Committee. Are you going to try to get information about the investigation?
This is absolutely something that not only oversight but judiciary should look into, and I sit as the ranking member on the subcommittee for judiciary that is oversight. So this is something that me and my team are definitely going to look into, and hopefully the chairman of that subcommittee is interested in finding out what the truth is, because that is what we are really supposed to do. We are not supposed to figure out who is best friends with the president, and if they are closely aligned with him, then just ignore things while trying to make up things about political opposition.
And to call for the resignation of people like Tom Homan. I mean, how can you have a top enforcement official, the border czar like Tom Homan, who took $50,000 from undercover agents in a bag with the apparently, reportedly, the promise of helping deliver federal contracts when he was going to take a position in the Trump administration? How can you have that person in leadership? He should be gone. And I hope my Republican colleagues will join me and others in demanding that the videotape of him taking the bag, literally holding the bag, be shown to the public. We also, I think, ought to hear the audio conversations of him making those promises in exchange for that $50,000 in cold cash. I mean, who does that? Who takes $50,000 in cash in a bag if they're doing something legitimate?
To the next story. Did you see what Donald Trump posted just moments ago? It's interesting because it actually looks like he may have meant to send a DM, a private message to Pam Bondi, but maybe he inadvertently published it publicly. Did you all read this? Listen to this. I sent a picture of it to my computer here. Listen to what Donald Trump just posted. It starts out, Pam, I have reviewed over 30 statements and posts saying that essentially, quote, same old story as last time, all talk, no action, nothing is being done. What about Comey, Adam Shifty Schiff, Letitia? They're all guilty as hell, but nothing is going to be done. Then, this is what Trump is saying, then we almost put a Democrat-supported U.S. attorney in Virginia with a really bad Republican past, a woke rhino who was never going to do his job. That's why two of the worst Dem senators pushed him so hard. This sounds like Eric Siebert, who just resigned because he wouldn't indict Tish James. It sounds like that's who Trump is talking about. Trump continues.
If you want to have your attorney general help you commit almost every impeachable offense there is, and you write her a memo about it, try not to post the memo online. Grandpa Shardy.
Because in recent days, there's someone whose life was tragically taken by violence, and as a consequence has left a wife and some children behind. It's a tragic thing that had happened to him. What is also tragic is they're trying to make him a martyr of the faith. Now, he did violently die, but he did not die for the faith. Not the faith I know, and not for the Jesus I know. Somebody ought to help me preach today. It was a violent death, and nobody should die like that, especially in front of their children and their wives. Nobody should die like that in front of anybody. But let's be clear. He wasn't a martyr for the faith. People can say that all they want. And he can call himself a Christian if he wants. But you can tell a tree by the fruit it bears and not by the title it wears. You can call yourself an orange tree all you want, but if all you got is poison berries, you are not what you say you are. We're not supposed to judge, but the Bible does tell us to be fruit inspectors. And listen, I'm still looking for evidence that he was a follower of the sable skin sandals wearing carpenter from Galilee. I don't see no evidence. What I see is what he said he was. And that was, he was a white Christian nationalist. And I put it in quotation marks because I don't know how you could be a white nationalist and a Christian at the same time, just like I don't know how you could be a Klansman and a Christian at the same time. Because a white nationalist is someone who has a vision of America that it is to be a white ethno state, which does not include you or other marginalized people who are brown, who are gay. Y'all not saying nothing here. Who are women. In fact, he said some stuff that lets you know that he can't be following the Jesus we know. No, he got shot, and they're around here talking about be careful about these marauding, he said in a lot of his rhetoric, marauding black youth who are out to hurt white people. And now HBCUs have had to suspend classes because he got shot. And I want to know, wait a minute now, what? We ain't had nothing to do with that. Why you attacking HBCUs? Because last we heard the one who shot you was one of you. I mean, it sounds like the call is coming from in the house. No, you can't spew violent, vitriolic rhetoric and say you speak for Jesus. He had the nerve to call the names of several prominent black women who are brilliant beyond debate. 8 degrees between all of them, Ivy League graduates, and he had the nerve to say about them that they don't have the mental capacity to process information in a way that you would take them seriously, and he dropped out of a community college. Those two things don't go together. You can't go around twisting statistical data so that you could promote tropes, racist tropes about the inherent inferiority and criminality of black people and say that you follow Jesus. And when they give you statistical data that says 1 in 5 women are sexually accosted, your response is that's not true because the women are lying. You can't say we need to bring back public execution, put it on TV, do it publicly quick, and get sponsors like Coca-Cola. That's what he said. Don't look at me, I didn't say it. You said that we need to protect the Second Amendment, and the fact that there are mass shootings and people are dying, but that's just the cost you pay for protecting the Second Amendment. Even though folk have been trying to come up with common sense gun laws, you reject it, and now you are a victim of the thing you supported. You can't say immigrants who are coming here are destroying civilized Western society, that all of these people who are coming from these places with these records and these backgrounds, that they're contaminating Western civilization and our culture, when in fact it was Western civilization that came here and almost wiped out indigenous people, put God's name on it and called it manifest destiny, and then went to the western shores of Africa and kidnapped millions of Africans, enslaved them for 256 years. Y'all not saying nothing in here. Making them work from can't see in the morning, can't see at night, brutalizing them, violating the women, raping them with impunity, so that when emancipation came, when there were 4 million enslaved, freed, 600,000 of them were of mixed race, which means you've been raping them so often. Y'all not saying nothing to me. And then when Reconstruction comes, there's another 100 years of segregation where you were lynching people and there were no consequences. Wait, and when you lynched them, you did it like you said public execution should do it, because you go to church at 11 o'clock and then go lynch somebody at 12 and call everybody together and do it over a meal and have your children taking pictures to the emaciated body. I'm sorry. I'm not buying that people who are coming from other nations are messing up Western civilization. You can't say hateful, vile things like that and then somebody say that you're a martyr for the faith. Not my Jesus.
Jesus would never agree with Charlie Kirk that innocent people might have to lose their lives in order for some people to keep their guns. And Jesus, a dark-skinned man himself, would never list brilliant black women and say they don't have the brain power to be taken seriously. Kirk was fond of quoting scripture to back his political agenda, but he never really understood that Christianity is a nonviolent religion of peace and mercy, not profit and power, and that we are to love even our enemies and respect the dignity of every human being, which is one reason why I grieve his death. He was a child of God, which means he was a relative of mine and yours, and he was senselessly murdered in front of his family, and no one deserves that. I also grieve that the people that admired him either didn't know about or agreed with his Christian nationalist beliefs, which are neither Christian nor American. But to be honest, I see a reflection of myself in some of what he said. I wrote a college essay on the ills of affirmative action. I resisted the idea that America was racist for a long time because I didn't want to believe that I got something I didn't earn. Over time, I realized I was ignorant and selfish and wrong. And that's another reason I grieve Kirk's death. You see, he will never have the opportunity to evolve, to regret some of what he said, like I do. And he'll never have the gratitude and relief of being able to look back and say, wow, God, I'm so glad I don't think like that anymore. I take comfort, and I hope you all do, that Charlie is with God. And I hope having a cup of coffee with Jesus, Harriet Tubman, and Maya Angelou. I love you, all of you. And I'll see you out there.
You know, they said there was only supposed to be 100,000 people here today. It's been reported that it's over 300,000 people. Let's just take a look and see how the stadium is after 30 minutes of being open.
So in case you don't know, the Charlie Kirk Vigil Memorial thing in Arizona is happening today. People have flown from all over the country to be there. This guy is talking about how many people there's there after only 30 minutes of opening. But listen, the most important part of the video is what he says after he shows the crowd.
You could feel the love. You could feel God's presence. This is absolutely beautiful. America coming together, gathering and worship and memorializing, immortalizing Charlie Kirk.
Gathering to worship, memorialize, and immortalize Charlie Kirk. Gathering and worship, immortalizing and memorializing Charlie Kirk. So he just admitted out loud that they're there to worship Charlie Kirk. And if you haven't been paying attention to that side of the internet, they've been talking about how Charlie Kirk is the 13th fucking disciple and blah, blah, blah bullshit. Listen to me, and let me be abundantly fucking clear. As a white guy who grew up in white churches and being told the white conspiracy theories and learning all of the hate that I learned from white churches and understanding very deeply how white people view what the end of the world will look like through the tribulation and the 7 years that follow the rapture and all that shit, understanding the mindset of white people, being raised in it and indoctrinated in that cult, let me tell you something. White America has been looking for their martyr for so long. They will not miss the opportunity to make this guy their martyr. This is only the beginning, and if you don't heed the warning that I'm giving you now, you'll wish you did later. White Christian nationalism has found their modern day Jesus, and they will use this to usher in what they've been wanting forever, and that is the resurgence of Jim Crow Jesus here in America, the resurgence of the dominance of the mythology of white supremacy. I mean, you name it, this is what they want. They want it to be their way or the highway. Fascism, as long as it looks like Christian nationalism. A dictator, as long as it looks like Christian nationalism. They're all cool with it. And they're okay to go to fucking war over it because they believe they're at a spiritual war. And that this is where it all culminates. I could go on for fucking ever about this, but you better just be fucking paying attention. That's all I'm saying.
As we have predicted, the Trump administration is utilizing the Department of Justice as well as aspects of the Patriot Act to villainize his opposition, and I do mean all of us. In the past few days, the Trump administration and his Department of Justice have said that they are going to label Antifa as a terrorist organization. Mind you, Antifa is not an organization. Antifa is a term that means anti-fascists. In World War II, they were also called the Allies. But none of that matters. None of that matters. Nor does it matter that the fact that they are labeling Antifa as a terrorist opponent of the organization means they are fully admitting that they are a fascist regime. He's doing this, though, so that he can essentially label any progressives, any leftists, anyone that stands up against him as a terrorist. And because of the way that the Patriot Act was set up, that strips us of any, really, constitutional rights. They can ship us off to Guantanamo, any other camps that they build. They can strip us of property, of our jobs. And it is getting really dark really, really quickly. Today, Kash Patel announced that they would be trying to, if not fully just labeling, trans people as terrorists. Do you see where I'm going with this? The FBI, pushed and led by the Heritage Foundation, and that's really important, is trying to label all trans people and all gender nonconforming people as, and I quote, violent nihilistic extremists. And that would allow them to designate them as terrorists and remove them from society. They are going to start forcefully disappearing people and removing anyone that they deem a threat to the regime. It is really important that those of us who know and love trans people, who have trans family members, lovers, whatever, understand where we're at, stay plugged in and aware of what's happening, and start making plans. Because these types of escalations are not showboating. They are very deliberate steps in a very, very dark plan.
Major news that needs way more attention. Trump and Pete Hegseth are now demanding that reporters covering the Department of Defense sign a pledge to only report government-approved information. If journalists refuse to sign this pledge, the government will revoke their press credentials. This comes as Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has already forced out long-standing outlets like NBC, NPR, and The Washington Post, replacing them with MAGA propagandist media like OAN and Newsmax. Press briefings have been shut down. Reporters can't move throughout the building without escorts, and now even unclassified information is off limits unless the government says so. The National Press Club is warning that if news about our military must first be approved by the government, the public is not getting independent reporting. only propaganda. This is, of course, part of Trump's broader war on the press. The White House already kicked out the Associated Press from key events. They tried to strip CNN reporters of their passes, and they are now extending this censorship to the Pentagon itself. Trump is having the FCC pressure networks into kicking people critical of him off the air. As we just saw with Jimmy Kimmel, he's targeting Jimmy Fallon and Seth Meyers and The View Next. Independent journalism is under attack, folks, and without it, democracy itself is at risk. So make sure to spread the word and listen to the Midas Touch podcast for more.
Trump has asserted that he needs unprecedented control over every lever of the U.S. economy, even levers over the U.S. economy that were explicitly designed from jump to be independent of any president's influence. He wants not only control over raising revenues through taxes, which is something only Congress is supposed to do. He wants control over what the government spends, which is something that Congress is supposed to be able to do. He wants control over the central bank, which is something that is explicitly designed to not be controlled by the U.S. president. Now, should Trump have expanded control over more elements of the U.S. economy? Should he have unprecedented control over levers of the U.S. economy? Well, how is he done with the stuff that he does control already? I don't know. Under him, we've had job growth suddenly slow to a 16-year low, excluding the pandemic, which happened in his first term. Under him, long-term unemployment is now, per the Washington Post today, quote, at a post-pandemic high and a level typically only seen during periods of economic turmoil. Thanks to Trump's second-term policies, health insurance premiums are about to spike to their biggest jump in at least 5 years. There are 24 million Americans on Affordable Care Act plans, and above and beyond the spike in healthcare premiums that everybody's about to see, if you're on the Affordable Care Act, this next year, your health insurance costs are expected to rise by more than 75%. That's affecting 24 million Americans. Healthcare costs up more than 75% in a year. That's because of Trump's policies. How's he doing in your personal economy? Donald Trump has done such a hit job on the economy that he is now putting his name on the signs at a bunch of infrastructure projects that were passed and funded by Joe Biden. In Biden's legislation that Trump was fanatically and vocally opposed to. Inflation is up, the labor market is down, health prices are about to go through the roof, and so Trump is taking credit, literally putting his name on Joe Biden's economic projects in the hopes that maybe he'll at least get credit for that stuff, because that stuff seems like it's working. So yeah, a guy with that record. Should this man get even more control over the U.S. economy? Should he also take the reins of the Federal Reserve Bank that is legally independent from him? I think that's a reasonable question.
It's time for the Trucker John Livestream. Gonna be a good time. Oh yeah. The Trucker John Livestream. Come along for a good time. It's a good time, good time, good time, good time. Trucker John Livestream. It's gonna be a good time. Gonna be the time of your life. Gonna talk some shit. Hush your mouth. Gonna talk a little smack. Gonna talk whatever comes of it. You're gonna always wanna come back. Well, yeah, it's the Trucker John Livestream. He's the biggest, baddest, funniest mother you've ever seen. Watch your mouth, he's headed south. Not even sure what that means, but if it's one thing I know, the Trucker John Livestream is the best thing you've ever seen.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've been waiting for. Trucker John.
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Let's see, is this thing working?
Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Let's see, is this thing working?
You know what, I'm gonna replug this in. I don't think,
You know what, I'm gonna replug this in. I don't think,
okay, now, what about now? How's it sounding? Testing, 1, 2, 3.
what about now?
Okay, I think it's working now.
How's it sounding? Testing, 1, 2, 3. What about now? Okay, I think it's working now.
I think before that was just the regular phone mic. I don't think it was the, world's tiniest mic. Anyhow, good morning, everybody. Here we are, 11:44 a.m. in the Pacific time zone in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. It is currently 85. We're supposed to get a high of 92, I guess, today. 90 something. Anyhow, I hope you guys had a good weekend. As good as possible, hopefully, with all the things that are going on. We try to do the best we can, right? That's all we can do. Hello, chat. By the way, I'm not able to go all the way back to the top of the chat, to the very beginning. By top, I mean very beginning, in case people don't know what I'm talking about. But I remember I saw Sandy Foltz in there, and I think Paul Burrows, and I think Elizabeth was in there at number 3, maybe. And from there, I don't know. I think I saw Fancy, and so on and so forth. So just a little bit down in the chat, I see AM is here. William's here. Hey, William, good to see you. Thanks for being here. We got 36 watching, only 31 thumbs ups. And you know how I feel about operating in a deficit like that. It makes me feel like just a slimy, scummy Republican. So let's get that thumbs up button. Let's get us to at least a balanced budget, like good Democrats that we are. All right. Josh is here. Hey, Josh, good to see you. Mr. Spock is here, the chicken man. Live long and prosper. Here's Yakov Eshwaza is here. Can I just call you Yakov? Anyhow, thanks for being here. I appreciate you. Deborah Murphy's here. Hey, Deborah. Richard from Down Under, the expat Down Under is here. Good to see you. Tim Farrell is here. Hey, Tim. Good to see old Tim Farrell, the Farrell one. Fancy says, what I want to know is Grindr all gay or all types of sex, if I'm asking that right. Maybe someone in the chat can answer that. Because I don't know. I just thought it was all gay. I thought it was just all LGBTQ plus. I don't know if there's any what we used to call heterosexual. Are we allowed to say heterosexual now? I can't keep up with all guys. I'm old. I'm a boomer. I can't keep up with all the classifications and what we can say and not say. I'm just curious, are we allowed to say heterosexual? Am I offending anyone if I use the term heterosexual? I just need to know that. I'm on a need to know basis. I don't think there's any heterosexual thing on the Grindr. I think it's all LGBTQ plus. XYZ. And apparently they crashed the Grindr server again in Phoenix. Whenever these big groups of Republicans get together, Grindr crashes, and nothing wrong with that. If Republicans, you want to go, same-sex bumping uglies and hooking up, more power to you. Just stop with the with the homophobic, legislation and all the fucking rhetoric, all the shit that Charlie Kirk, all the shit he talked about gay people. I'm pretty sure one of his quotes was like, gay people should be executed or shot or euthanized or whatever. So again, fuck you to you fucking Republicans. Every goddamn last one of you. Fuck off, you fucking hypocritical motherfuckers. Now, see what you've done. I was in a relatively good mood. There's this fucker. Doi! Look at this motherfucker. Doi! Took a bag of cash, $50,000. That happened. That came out over the weekend. The criming and the criming and the criming of all things Trump related. They're all criminals. They're all grifters. They all should be in prison. And all they do is project that shit. How many times do we hear the Biden crime family? The Biden this, the Biden that. Fuck you. It's right there. There's your guy right there. And Trump told the DOJ to kill it. Or actually, it was the other fucker. Email Boval? Little Boval. Talk about creepy. And they all look creepy. Look at this motherfucker, Holman. He looks like the Thing or something. The Thing? Isn't that a Fantastic Four? He looks like the fucking Thing. Stephen Miller looks like the creepy fucking Nosferatu and a Nazi, all wrapped into one. This Emil Boval motherfucker, another just slimy, creepy fucking vampire. They all look like vampires and Nazis. But there it is. They tell them just to kill it, kill the investigation. We're not going to go forward with it. Okay, all right, fine. So they're going to let him get away with accepting a $50,000 bribe. But I'm just curious. All of a sudden, he's got 50 grand. Did he just bury it in the backyard? Did he just stick it in his pillowcase under his mattress? Because if that 50 grand showed up in a bank account all of a sudden or whatever, it would seem to me that he's got to report that to the IRS. And now that we know about it, now it's out, and the story's out, the IRS should know about it. The IRS should be coming knocking, going, okay, we understand you had $50,000 of extra income. We don't see that you reported it. Mr. Holman? Where's that 50 grand on your tax return? And then he'll say, okay, let me do an amendment. I'll just do an amendment. And oh yeah, I forgot to list that. That was a consultation fee. Oh, okay. Then you won't mind providing the contract. You do operate with contracts, right? Written contracts. When you do your consultation fees, you have forms, and he'll probably say, oh no, well this one was just a verbal agreement or something. But whatever he does, they need to go after him. Go after that motherfucker. But of course they won't, because he's part of the Trump administration, and the Trump administration is nothing but a bunch of crooks and criminals. That's all they fucking are. Crooks and criminals. Hey, I just looked over. It looks like we are acting like good Democrats at a nice balanced budget. We got 41 watching and 41 thumbs ups. So there we go. I see Ivy Joe Rames here. Rains? Did I say Rames? I meant Rains. Rains. Sandy Foltz is here. Hey, Sandy. Good to see you. I know you were in first earlier, so that's cool. Let's see who else we got here. Fancy said, I really don't want to go there to find out. Yeah. Maybe someone can tell you. Like I said, I think it's all LGBTQ+. I'm getting good at saying JG. Oh, J. Then I screwed it up. I'm getting better at saying LGBTQ+. Now I can't say it. Richard says this preacher's delusional. You talking about the white one or the black one? I don't think he's delusional, Richard. I thought he had some good points. There was a couple of things in there where I was like, but for the most part, I think the white priest guy, I think he was right. I don't have a problem with anything he said. Actually, he said he learned his lesson. He said that he used to think that affirmative action, that he wrote a paper on it against it, and then he said he learned as he went through life, he learned that it was a good thing, and he regrets that Charlie Kirk didn't have the opportunity to do the same, to maybe learn. We don't know. John Fugelsang says the same thing. So if you've got a problem with this preacher, you can also take it up with John Fugelsang. And I know you're going to say, who the fuck is John Fugelsang? Or whatever. I mean, just, you're entitled to your opinion, Richard, but either one of whether the black pastor there or the white, I think he was a Catholic priest, but I don't know. He had a collar on. I think his title was father, so I think he's a Catholic. I didn't really have any problem. I would, if I had a huge problem with it, I wouldn't have posted it. I thought that I think overall what they were saying was pretty good stuff. Pointing out about, especially the first guy, the hypocrisy of Charlie Kirk, saying that he's this man of faith, and everyone at the memorial service, he's this man of faith, and the guy saying the black pastor there was saying, like, he's not a man of my faith, the faith I believe in. Judge him by his fruits, right? His fruits. I thought that was a good deal. So, and then the other guy, that I thought he was okay too. I thought he made some good points. So. Anyhow, Aaron West is here and Jolie, so we are at full mod capacity. Thank you, mods. Thank you, Jolie and Aaron, for being here. I always do appreciate you guys for coming on in. Damon Dog, the big dog, is here. The what was it? Apocalyptic voter or something. I never did look up the word because I don't think I'm saying it right. Doesn't sound good though. David Weiss is here from Denver, Colorado. Hey, David, good to see you. Thanks for coming on in. I do appreciate you. Sandy Foltz says, I'm enjoying my new furniture. Oh, yeah, that's right. Sandy got some new furniture. She's all decked out, got a couch and an ottoman, I think, and a coffee table, and styling, man. Living the life of Brian or somebody. Life of leisure. And nice new furniture. It's nice to get new stuff and nice furniture. I'm still grateful that I have this couch. If I hadn't grabbed that couch that I took from my last place, I would be sitting in my broken camping chair right now. Or plus, the nice chair that I have now. So you guys see my chair? Well, you can't really see it, but I would have this chair because that's about all I would have, and my little bed. But yeah, so it's nice to have nice furniture. It really is. So I'm glad you were able to get that, Sandy. Damon Dog says, I'm so happy. My hearing aids just came back from repair. Thank you, Mr. UPS man. Now you can finally hear me, Damon Dog. You're probably going to plug those in and go, wait a minute, what the hell? What is this guy saying? I didn't know he was such a dipshit. So now you're going to know what a dipshit I am, I guess. I'm eating a donut, by the way. I bought these little donuts. You want to know something? I love everything chocolate. Chocolate. I'm a chocolate freak. I love chocolate. But those little donuts you get that are chocolate, they suck. Now, a lot of people say they're made out of wax or something. It's not really real chocolate. I don't know. Now, I think if you buy Intamins, I think that's real chocolate. But the other ones, the other brands you see, I don't know. They suck. But if you get these little, like, I got crumb donut or crunchy, whatever it's called, crumb donut, coffee donut, whatever. These are actually pretty good. And I'm not really, like I said, I would prefer chocolate. Here, let me put this down a little bit. You see my vaccinated T-shirt. I need to get the booster. I haven't got the latest booster though. They are a little crummy though. So yeah, congrats on the new or getting your hearing aids back, so you can hear the show. Mr. Spock says Jesus bought my AR-15. All I want for Christmas is my new AR-15. Dear Santa, I've been a good boy. Please bring me an AR-15 with an extended mag and a whole buttload, shitload, sorry Santa for the cussing, of ammo. And scene. Thank you. I forgot to do that part. Bonnie Thompson's here. Hey, Bonnie, good to see you. Was that a memorial service or a WWF? I mean, I didn't watch it. I think I saw a couple little clips that showed up, and I just saw like the panning of the kind of what I showed, the panning of the stadium. I did watch. I think that one. There was a clip of Trump saying, "I hate people," or whatever he said. He's like, I hate them. His total typical stupid fucking Trump bullshit. So I watched that little clip. It was like 30 seconds or whatever it was. And then the clip that I showed here, it was a very short thing of the guy going, I think there's 300,000 people. I'm sure that stadium does not hold. I think they were at the stadium where the Cardinals play, Arizona, the football team, which is probably, I doubt it's more than, I doubt it holds 100,000. Maybe I'm wrong. You guys can tell me what they reported it at. But most NFL stadiums, are 80, 90,000 capacity, maybe 100,000. A lot of them these days are 60 or 70,000 seats. The one here in Vegas, Legion Stadium, I think is only 70,000 seats. So there's no way. I mean, I guess if they put seating. I guess if there was seating all through down on the football field, that would get extra people, I guess. But there was no way it was 300,000. That's not the main point, though, I guess. But so I didn't really watch it. I didn't want to watch it. I watched a couple clips of it. I had no really interest in watching because I knew it would be disgusting. Just to continue canonizing, deifying, lionizing, whatever word you want to say, of Charlie Kirk, who was really a disgusting human being. But fine, hey, this is their guy, and they want to mourn him. They can mourn him. I don't really give a fuck what they say about him. Really, I really don't. I'm at the point where I don't give a fuck. But I will be doing whenever I come across a clip of Charlie Kirk spouting and spewing his racist, bigoted, and homophobic, misogynistic bullshit. I'll post it. I'll repost it. And on that day of remembrance that they're having on October 14th, I think, I'll probably put a video out just with all that shit in it. That will be my day of remembrance for Charlie Kirk. All this stupid, hateful, harmful crap that he said. All that shit that he was about. That's how I remember the motherfucker. Richard says the gun violence in America is out of control because of the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms. Well, if they really followed the Second Amendment the way it was intended, then we probably wouldn't be out of control. But they've maligned it, they've bastardized it, they've cut it up, and then Alito, was it Alito or no Scalia, with you guys know those cases that they had, really just out of thin air, just made up shit about what the Second Amendment means. I think what's really making gun violence in America out of control is gun lobbyists, gun manufacturers, the NRA acting on their behalf, or at least in the past, from what I'm hearing, the NRA is kind of broke. They kind of went broke, but there's still plenty of gun manufacturing lobbyists that are contributing big to a lot of our representatives and our Congress people, and they, I guess, are just too afraid to do anything against them. God forbid they should get some campaign finance contributions taken away or not, or not getting. Even though 90% of the American people are in favor of universal background checks, we can't even get that through. When you have 90% or thereabouts, 85, 90, whatever it is, overwhelming majority of Americans are in favor of universal background checks, we still can't get that passed because of the gun lobbies. And that's a broken system we have. Damon Dog says none of this matters. The rapture is tomorrow. I just heard on. I was watching. Was it Stephanie Miller a little bit? Then when Hal was on, and somebody was it Sue from Sue from Cedar City? No, Sue from Maryland or whatever the fuck, wherever she's from, Silver Springs or whatever. Sue. We all know Sue. If you guys watch and listen to Stephanie Miller, longtime caller Sue. I think she's the one, or maybe it was somebody other caller. It might have been a different caller. Just said something. Well, pretty much what Damon said. Well, I don't have to worry about it because tomorrow is the rapture. And so I haven't seen that. So apparently, is something popping up in the socials? Is some religious fanatic or something claiming that tomorrow is the rapture? Whenever anyone says anything like that, whether the end of the world is coming on October 3rd, la-di-da, 2025, or the rapture is coming on this specific date. Well, I mean, as being a former Christian, a former Bible reader, a former churchgoer, a former listening to my, whether it was a pastor or whatever, they would at least once or twice a year, they would go heavy into like the book of Revelations and all that shit. And I remember them always saying, the part, I don't know if it was in book of Revelation. I forget now. Maybe it's in different books of the New Testament, but about how no one knows the exact day or time of the end of the world or the rapture. No one knows. I think it even says not even Jesus knows. I don't know. I might be wrong about that, but no one knows. So whenever someone proclaims to know, I mean, if you are a believer of Christianity, of the Bible, and you believe that the Bible is the inspired word of God, then if someone says they know the exact day and time and hour of the rapture or the end of the world, then you need to get away from that person or tell that person to fuck off. Or you just don't believe in the Bible. Because no one knows. It says right there in the fucking Bible. No one knows. No one knows. So if you are a Bible believer and someone tells you that, tell them to go fuck off. In a Christian way. I don't even know what that is. Anyhow. Richard says Trump is your typical dictator. Exactly. He's a dictator. He wants to be a dictator. That's what he wants. And that's when I think it was the Rachel Maddow or one clip or one of those clips, talking about how he wants to take over the Fed. He wants to take over. He wants to take Congress's responsibility of the purse strings and of allocating money and things. He wants to do it all, and I remember when I was watching that clip, I was like, because he wants to be a dictator, Rachel. Say it, just say it, you know. Bonnie Thompson says maybe we should all claim to be trans. Sure, why not? Aaron West says I'm proudly gender non-conforming without a violent bone in my body. And the really scary and really horrible thing that's coming out of, that I see, or that I'm afraid of, you know, all of this like scapegoating on the trans community, all of this fear mongering of the trans community, it's going to get trans people hurt and killed. And the extra sad thing about that is that trans people, I think, out of all groups of people, are already the most like abused and murdered people that there are. I mean, the numbers, the percentages is off the charts. Trans people are already, even without all this fucking hatred and shit and fearmongering and scapegoating, they're already victimized and you know, murdered and assaulted above more than any other group of people already. And now this is just going to make it even worse. That's the sad thing about that. That's horrible. It's so fucking horrible what this administration is doing. I mean, because once it comes from like the Oval Office and the administration, it's amplified, and you get these fucking right-wing nut jobs that hear this shit and they're like, oh, they're telling me what to do. They're telling me what I need to do, and I don't even want to talk about it. Josh says, I think I figured it out. Everything has been renamed Fifth Avenue with a Sharpie. We all remember what he said he could do on Fifth Avenue. Yeah, it's a real metaphor for getting away with everything. He gets away with everything. He can't stop. Wait. He can't stop getting away with it. Wasn't that what Jesse Pinkman was saying? Yeah, Josh, the Venezuelan fishing boat, Fifth Avenue. Charlie, Fifth Avenue. It's all Fifth Avenue now. Well, I don't know what do you do with Charlie, but yeah, and there's been like 3 boats now, I think. At least 2. I know on my last show someone brought up another boat, and then I never did look it up, and I never did hear anything about it. So I think whether there was a 3rd boat or not, I don't know. Maybe you guys in the chat can update me on that. Aaron West, my health insurance premiums are doubling in 2026. I know, it's awful. I was just thinking about that. What are people going to do? So many people are going to lose their health care because they can't afford it. I think they're already saying 20 or something million people are going to probably lose their health care. They're undoing everything, all the good work that Biden and Obama did. And this is horrible. This is fucking horrible. I don't understand why do people even on the right side of the aisle, the right wingers, the conservatives, whatever, even the maggots, why don't they want health care that they can afford or get free? And then I hate it when they're like, it's not free. It comes out of your taxes. Yeah, well, we pay taxes no matter what. So if I'm going to pay taxes, I would rather be able to get health care for it then use it to line some more pockets of fucking defense contractors. I mean, that, not that that's going to go away. We need defense and all that kind of stuff, but I don't understand, why don't they want health care? Why don't they want things like that? And it would make it so much easier. We've talked about it too. If we had universal universal single payer healthcare, or something similar to Medicare for all, the employers wouldn't have to worry about having to put up money for it, and the citizens wouldn't have to worry about like if they go to a job that has benefits or not benefits. There are lots of people that maybe would like to be entrepreneurs and have their own businesses of their own, but maybe healthcare has held them back. But if we had a universal healthcare system, that would all be, eliminated. That worry about that would be eliminated, and there's so many countries that are, when they do these polling and they do these studies, the people are so much happier than we are. And mainly because they have universal health care. And so they pay a little more in taxes. They don't give a fuck, because now they don't have to worry about if they get a catastrophic illness or disease or a serious injury. They don't have to worry about fucking being put out in the street and losing their house to pay for it or something. I don't understand, why can't we at least, you would think that would be one of those common ground things, right, left, and anywhere, that we would all want a good national healthcare system that would provide healthcare for everybody, for everyone. I don't get it. This whole thing that we always talk about, they vote against their own best interests, all because they believe the lies of the Republicans. And this is before Trump. It's been going on forever. They believe that they get into this whole thing about abortion, and they start. I've seen people literally cry because when they think of abortion, they think of a baby. They think of an actual baby that you can hold, an actual beautiful bouncing baby. That's how they think of that abortions are just like, killing those. No, abortions are killing little cells and shit. And if a woman wants to terminate that pregnancy, she should have every right to do so. You can cry all you want, but you need to mind your own goddamn business. It's just, it goes on and on and on. The right wing, the things that are really hanging us up and preventing us from being really in the 21st century and moving on and progressing. It's all this backwards bullshit of the right wingers, this backward thinking, and getting so worked up about whether or not some woman that you don't even know decides to make a choice over her own body and what she wants to do with it. That has set us back. This abortion issue has set us back and has got us, people like Ronald Reagan in office and George W. Bush in office and even Donald Trump in office. They say that there's more Democrats than there are Republicans. I keep hearing that. And I've always believed it. And I think I've even Googled it. And as far as registered Democrats overall, nationwide, I think there's like 3 million more or something Democrats than there are Republicans. I know gerrymandering affects our House of Representatives. I suppose they do that at the state level, maybe, for state offices. The gerrymandering, I guess. I don't know, but I know on the federal level, it affects the U.S. House rep. But it sure doesn't seem like there's more of us than them. The way with the gerrymandering and all the cheating. And they're keeping us back. They're holding us back. And it is the evangelicals, these white nationalist evangelicals. They're holding us back. They're the ones that really are propping up this. They've been the ones behind the whole abortion issue ever since Roe v. Ever since the ink on Roe v. Wade wasn't even dry yet. CR is here. Hey, good to see CR. Aaron West says the state hasn't approved a budget that was supposed to start in July, so no cost of living raises yet either. Jen at the base is here this at 11:42. Wow. That's about 38 minutes ago, I think. Jen at the base is 11:42, right on time for TJ's 11 a.m. start time. I'll be right back. Bong break. Well, I was waiting for Hal to finish up, and then actually, truth be known, the intro I was still downloading it from my iMovie app to my phone, because I have to download from there. I have to download it to my photo thing, that you have on your phone, your photo album thing. And for some reason, even though it was about a 24-minute intro, it seemed like it was taking way longer than usual for some reason to download today. I don't know. It took like extra time to download, like twice as long than usual. And so that took a little time. And then I ran it. So actually, the show started way before 11:42. I mean, if you count the intro, I do. I pushed the button to start the show, which played the intro. I don't remember exactly what time it was, but I think it might have been like 11:15, maybe something like that. MJ Daniel from up there in Washington State is here. Hey, MJ, good to see you. MJ says, well, or maybe well, what do you know? Back from shopping just in time. Hell from the free state of Washington. Well, I think it means hello. Hello from the free state of Washington. Hello, Washington. Hello there, MJ. Good to see you. Thanks for coming on in. I do appreciate you being here. Deborah Murphy says better. Damon Ox says it sounds great to me in stereo. Finally, I can finally get. Yeah, you got those new hearing aids in there. Aaron West, 81 degrees in central North Carolina. Ronnie, Bonnie Tom. I don't know why I was starting to say Ronnie Johnson. Bonnie Thompson says Squeaker of the House, Mike Johnson. Little Mikey. Roxanne 79's here. Hey, Roxanne, good to see you. Roxanne says, isn't Grindr for gay men? And then Fancy says, thanks. Yeah, I didn't know, so I was curious. That's always been my understanding is there was this for gay men, or I just say LGBTQ plus just to play it safe. They might have lesbians on there too. I don't know. They might have bi people on there. I don't know. They might have trans people in there. I don't know. But I don't think, like I said, I don't think there's any heteros And I don't know. Am I not supposed to say hetero? I don't know. Damon Dog says, "Isn't all sex gay?" That's what Nick Fuentes says. Oh, I didn't hear him say that. Well, I think that if you enjoy sex, then it's gay in the traditional sense of gay, right? Like gay is like is happy, makes you happy. Gay is like you're feeling happy, and so if you enjoy sex and you're having good sex, then I would say it's gay in the traditional sense. All right, I'm kind of skipping down here the lucky minutes here. Hey, lucky minute, good to see you. Since I am like 45 minutes behind, I am kind of skipping down a little bit here. So if I did skip over your chat, don't take it personally, please. Don't take it personally. Roxanne79 says, Damon Dog, what a magatard. Idiot. He obviously can't score any ass. Only losers say that. So now I got to go back and see what the hell did Damon Dog say, because I have no idea. Oh, well, the thing I just quoted. Well, I didn't take it that way, Roxanne. I took it the way I took it. Anyhow, look at a minute. Every time I get in here, he's mad. Was I at a mad point? Was I doing something? Did you come in when I was saying something about probably like fuck the Republicans or something like that? I think every last one of them. That's probably what he came in. Damon Dog says, I think we would be surprised how many heterosexuals are on Grindr. I have no problem with who's doing who, just don't be a hypocrite. Right, exactly. It's the hypocrisy part of it, right? Exactly. Okay, I'm skipping down a little bit more here. MJ Daniel says it was only a little bribe. Do you hate the USA or something? I think they are aliens. I want to see their green cards. Jolie, I bet 2 block kicks to close out the game. Oh, that was horrible. If you're talking about the Rams game, that was fucked up. That was so fucked up. So fucked up. I mean, okay, they had just had a kick block just a few minutes earlier. And so then now they go down, they could make the kick that would win the game. That would put them up by 1 point, right? If they make this kick. And so I'm thinking, okay, they already had one block. They're not going to get it blocked twice in a row. Right? Surely they will make some sort of adjustment. Surely the offensive lineman and the line coach they would be meeting on the sideline after that first block one, and they would say, okay, look, we need to do this. I would be like, I don't care if you got to hit that motherfucker in the balls. I don't give a fuck what you got to do. You don't let him just have a free run at the fucking kicker. If he puts his hands up like that, just fucking drive your helmet into his fucking crotch. That's what I would have done. I used to punch people all the time and get away with it. You got to know how to do it. You don't do a fucking haymaker. That's how but you can punch inside. You can grab a guy by the hip and fucking do an uppercut to his fucking nuts. That'll bring him down real quick. I don't give a fuck how big that motherfucker was. Hit him in the fucking jewels. You don't let him fucking get a free run. And if you get caught for the penalty, fine. Then you get to kick it over again. How many times are they going to block the fucking thing? Every fucking time? So I'm pissed off at a couple things. Sean McVay, who's the head coach of the Rams, on 3rd and 1, and they were driving and getting into field goal. This is again in I think the 4th quarter. 3rd and 1, they've been running the ball really good all day. They've been hitting Puka Nacua. He was looking like Cooper Kupp from 4 years ago or whatever. Instead, on 3rd and 1, he tries to hit a home run. He tries to throw a deep ball to Devontae Adams that was no way it was going to get caught. He was covered. It was now it's 4th and 1, and now I can't remember if they didn't convert, or was that where the field goal was that got blocked, the first one. But I can't remember. But I was so mad at that. I was like, just run a little. All you needed was 1 yard. If you weren't going to run the ball, which a lot of times, because 3rd and 1, that's a running down, and everyone expects you to run. So a lot of times teams will pass, and that's fine. This is the passing era of the football. This isn't like the old, 3 yards in a cloud of dust type of thing. So, okay, fine. You're going to pass on 3rd and 1. Okay, fine. All you got to do is Puka Nacua, step over the line, throw the ball to him. He catches it, 1st down. That's all you had to do. Or you could have they have plenty of pass plays where you send your receivers and they can go out a couple yards, they can go out 5 yards, 7 yards. You didn't need to throw the fucking bomb down, 45 yards down to the end zone. That was fucking stupid. So that pissed me off. And then the fucking first missed field goal, that upset me. I wasn't really pissed off because that block kicks do happen. But then when it happened again, it was like the same guy, same everything. And I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, you guys didn't you didn't even try to change something, put an extra guy on that guy. Like I said, just take his knees out, take his balls out, whatever you got to do. Chop block the motherfucker. I don't give a fuck if you get a penalty. You don't let him just scoop and score like that. So that pissed me off. Yeah, so I was pissed off about that. So I hope you're happy, Jen. You're probably happy that I'm pissed off because my Rams lost, and they lost in a really fucking unbelievable, hideous way. They were dominating the Eagles the whole game. Pretty much the whole game. So yeah, I'm skipping down. Let's see. I see my name highlighted by Joe the Base. Says, question for you, TJ: Are cannabis? No, cannibal? Oh, cannibals. Are cannibals considered humanitarians? I'm just asking questions. I'm just going to skip it because it's a really stupid question. I know you're trying to be funny. Jen of the Base always, this is the thing about Jen of the Base. Jen of the Base always thinks that he's funny. And he's not. He's not funny at all. So, poor Jen. He's trying. He's giving it his best shot. David Dog says, oh my God, is she still harping at Jen? See, I skipped, so I don't know. Okay, Sandy Foltz. I've gone over this again. I should probably just ignore this, but now I've made mention of it. Sandy says Jen of the Base was supposed to be removed from this chat. No, he was not. He was not supposed to be removed. No one. Look, I will decide that. My mods, Jolie and Aaron, who are very good at this, they know if someone needs to be removed or not. If someone needs to be removed, they will be removed. Jen at the Base, and I've said this before, other than being not funny, has done nothing that would be worthy of being kicked out or banned or blocked. At least from and you're more than free. Apparently, I thought you blocked them. You're more than free. You can block them. When you block them, it only blocks them so that you don't see them. It doesn't block them so the rest of us don't see them. So don't worry about it. If you block them, then don't fucking worry about it. David Dog, apoplectic. That's what Damon Dog says he's apoplectic. And I don't even know what it means. I don't even know what that means. Let's see. I am kind of skipping down because I know I'm really behind. Josh says if it's not chocolate, it doesn't count as dessert. I love chocolate. I really do. But some things, like those chocolate donuts you get in the little packages, those are crap. Most, unless it's, I think Intamin's is probably real chocolate, but I'm not really sure even on that. MJ Daniel says, I read today. Today is supposed to be the start of the rapture. Can't wait to go out at night with the man from Mars eating cars and guitars. That's right, the old Blondie song. Catherine, Real Hell Talk is here. You'll shoot your eye out. The Lucky Minute says, get your booster. I'm on week 3 with all the boosters. I know I keep meaning to do that. And I keep forgetting to go look up where I can get one. Yeah, Jen at the base says she has blocked me, so I'm not sure why she has a bug up her ass about me. Yeah, I'm not sure why. I don't know either, Jen. I don't know, man. Like I just said, she blocked you, so she should be happy that she can't see you. So I guess she doesn't like it if I read one of your posts. But Sandy, that's too bad. I'm gonna read people's posts, and that's, if you don't like it, then that's just too bad. I'm sorry. I don't know how else to say it. I don't know how else to say it. Oh, Catherine. Okay, talking about the stadiums. State Farm can hold between 63 and 70,000, maybe a little more if they push it. So, and that's the is that the stadium there in Phoenix? Is that called State Farm? It's hard to keep up with them because they change their sponsors all the time. I think it used to be something else. But anyhow, so maybe 63 to 70, like in the stands. I think they had seating. They probably put seating down on the field, but that's probably, I mean, how many more would that be? 10,000 or something? I mean, who knows? So yeah, it wouldn't be anywhere near 300,000 more. PDG 200 LBFB says 63,000. I lived there for 28 years. MJ Daniel says the store where we shop at has a discount shelf for the bakery, and they have some great chocolate cookies and stuff. Also had some sour cream old fashioned donuts that were great. There was sour cream on the donuts. It's kind of weird. Roger Dodger's here. Hey, Roger Dodger, good to see you. Thank you so much. Damon Dog says, did you see the mess they left outside the service? The city is using front loaders to clean up. I didn't see that. I did not, but it doesn't surprise me. And not to say, because I think I remember right wingers posting stuff about left wingers or whatever at events about the trash being left behind, and it's going to happen when you have 300,000 people, or even 60 or 70 or 80,000 people. But I didn't see that. MJ Daniel says that memorial, in quotes, sounded closer to a rally in the 1930s Germany to me. So much hate. Especially, I suppose, like I said, I didn't watch it. I just saw a couple clips. And especially the Trump parts were probably the most 1930s Germany. Yeah, Bonnie Thompson says, it really sucks that Trump got a second term. I hope none of those SCOTUS fascists retire. I know, because they're going to replace him. He's going to replace him with like 30-year-olds. 30-year-old Charlie Clerks is what he's going to, Charlie Kirk is who he's going to replace him with. Trump will. And then we'll be stuck with him for fucking 60 years. Bonnie Thompson, Christian nationalists still trying to trick Jesus into coming back. Lucky minute, the rapture will happen in a blink of an eye. Hey, there's Bethany S. Arbaugh. Hey, Bethany, good to see you. Thanks for coming on in to the old driver's lounge. I do appreciate you. And I do see that we are operating in a surplus like good Democrats. 48 watching, 55 thumbs ups. Thank you for making me, if it makes me feel better if I know we are operating like good Democrats. Yaakov Eshrava says, sorry if I mispronounced that, says, when this time passes and we win, we can't have a time of reconstruction. It must be reckoning, similar to what Germany did. Yeah, no more of this incrementalism. Okay, I'm all for incrementalism if we have a fair playing field or whatever. But we don't. And the Republicans have been, we know that their tactics, their cheating, everything they do for decades and decades and decades. And here we are, we're trying to be, we're going to be incrementalists. No, fuck that. We need to make up for lost time. The days of incrementalism are over. No more incrementalism. I'm sorry, Hal Sparks. I know Hal Sparks is really big in that incrementalism. And I agree in theory about that, but we've gone past that. We need to make up for decades of lost time. So yeah, when we get back into power, it needs to be fucking like major shit needs to happen. I agree, Yakov. Yes, sir. I'm sorry, I'm if I'm mispronouncing that. Catherine Reynolds says God's comic time has nothing to do with human time. Nothing. Yeah, if you believe in that kind of thing, absolutely. David in Grand Prairie, Texas says old-fashioned buttermilk donuts. Yum. Yeah, those sounds good. That sounds good. The Lucky Minute. Oh my God, this is your first dictator. I think you're right. We've had some shitty presidents, some bad presidents, but I think this might be our first actual dictator. Deborah Murphy says rapture stuff is on TikTok about tomorrow. I'm not taking too seriously, and plus I don't go on TikTok. I dismantled, deactivated my TikTok account, I think a year and a half ago or longer. And even if they bring it back, like they're saying, they're trying to get a deal where they buy TikTok, and it's going to be by Americans, and there's going to be 7. Because I was listening to this, and they're like, there's going to be 7 Americans on the board or whatever, and I was like, okay, which Americans? I mean, I don't give a fuck. Is it going to be like 7 Elon Musks? 7 assholes, 7 Doge motherfuckers? I mean, it kind of matters. I mean, just because they're Americans doesn't mean that they're good. Even though Elon Musk is a South African, but I guess he's a U.S. citizen now. I don't know, but my point. My point is, who they were touting this. There will be 7 Americans like on the board, and like that's a good thing. And I'm like, well, and I'm thinking to myself, well, it depends on who the 7 Americans are. So it doesn't really mean anything. It's not very reassuring to me. What if someone finds an older Bible under the Antarctic ice, says Mr. Spock. Ooh, and it was written by aliens because no, Arctic. Oh, I was thinking of Atlantis. When you said Antarctic, I was thinking of Atlantis, the city of Atlantis, the sunken city of Atlantis. Oh no, but Arctic ice. Yeah, what if they find an older Bible? I think their heads would explode. Maybe, I don't know. Catherine Real Tel Talk says being inspired to speak about God is one thing, but claiming to speak for God, I would guess very strongly that God is perfectly capable of speaking for himself. Well, people believe that the Bible, and I think it even says in the Bible that these are the words of God. That were written through men that were getting an inspired word of God. That's what they claim. Let's see. DPD 5844 says Christian singers who performed at Kirk's rally yesterday, Kirk's rally instead of a memorial. Brandon Lee. Now there's no periods here, so I'm not sure if I'm stopping in the right place for the names, but Brandon Lee, like if there's a middle name or something. Chris Tomlin, Steve Emerson, Phil Wickman, Kerry Job, and Cody Carnes, and Jason Aldean's wife, Brittany. Now you know who to boycott. I don't listen to any of those motherfuckers anyhow. I've never heard of any of them except for Jason Aldean. So I will be boycotting his wife, that's for sure. I guess I'll be boycotting all of them because I never listened to any of them. Anyhow, but if you are a country music fan and you know those names, I guess it's good info to have. MJ Daniel says I could get women hurt or killed. Remember that a woman was challenged by an employee at Wild Wings just going to the restroom. What about now? Are you talking about a trans woman or something? I'm kind of mid-thread probably. I don't know why we're doing. Well, whatever. I'll skip that. MJ Daniel says a woman does not look feminine enough to some nut. What could happen? This is dangerous, and Republicans just get worse. Oh yeah, the whole, like I said, the trans people are already the victims of more crimes, more assault, more death, more murder than any other group, I think, and by a big number. The lucky minute. So what happens to the fake believers during the rapture? Well, they don't get raptured. Only the born again. This is the way I was taught. I'm just going off memory. It's been a while. I haven't gone to church in decades. I haven't read the book in probably, the Bible. I haven't read in probably decades. So I'm just going off top of my head memory. I believe you have to be a born again Christian. Born again. That means you asked Jesus to come into your heart and to forgive you of your sins, and that you proclaim that Jesus is the Son of God and that the only way to heaven is through him. You say the little prayer, and you ask for Jesus to come into your heart. And then you are saved. That's what being saved. That's what being a born again saved Christian is. You have to be saved. You have to be, and by saved, it's that's the thing I just said. That's what being saved is. You believe that Jesus Christ is the Son of God. You ask him into your heart. And that's how I was taught. Those are the people that be raptured. If you didn't do that, you're not saved. If you're not saved, you don't get raptured. You get left behind. Hey, they should make a movie about that. I never did see the Left Behind movies, but I never did see them, so I don't know. But I always thought, I think I might have seen a trailer, or you know how we just see little clips of things, you know how we do, you know, on the internet or whatever. But I never did watch the movies. But I always thought, well, if you got left behind, then that means you're not really a Christian. So, you know, what's the big mystery? Because they act like there's some sort of mystery to it or something. It's not like Jesus forgot you or missed you. Apparently, Jesus or God or both, they're kind of one and the same. One's body form, human body form. One is heaven form. It's not like they did the rapture and it's like, oh wow, we missed Willie Ames or whatever that guy's name is. We you know, Kirk. Oh, there's Kirk Cameron. Wait a minute. Oh, the door's closed. Sorry, Kirk. You know, maybe we can send something back around in another, 1,000 years from now. I don't know, because our time is different than your time and everything. I don't know. I never did see the Left Behind movies, but the way I was taught is that all of the saved, born-again Christians will be raptured. And so you'll know on that day, I guess that's one way of finding out. All the people who get left behind, they know they weren't saved. But if I remember correctly, then you still have a chance. You still have a chance to redeem yourself. You just have to, because now the Antichrist will take over. And the Antichrist will demand that you pledge your allegiance to him and that you denounce Christ. But if you tell the Antichrist to basically go fuck himself, and you tell him, I am not denouncing Christ, I believe Christ is my Savior, is the Son of God, then the Antichrist will behead you. And I always thought, well, okay, so if this is true, and it's like, okay, you're a Christian, everything's faith-based, and I don't care how strong your faith is, there's always going to be a little bit of doubt. So you're reading the Bible, and you're like, okay, this is cool, okay, the rapture, but you're about the rapture and stuff, but then you're like, but there's a little part of you that goes, I don't even know if this is really ever going to happen. I don't even, this might be true, maybe it's not true, I don't know. Maybe you're like 99% sure that it's true, but maybe you don't know. But then let's say it really did happen. And you saw the rapture, and you saw all these people just disappear, and they're gone, and you know it was the rapture, because then all these other prophecies start taking place where the Antichrist comes in and takes over, and then it's like your choice is either denounce Christ and follow me, the Antichrist, which would be basically you're going to go to hell, or if you don't, I'm going to chop your head off, and then. Well, then you already know you're going to go to heaven, so you would just obviously just say, yeah, I believe Christ. I'm not changing my mind on this one. I believe in Christ. He's my Savior. He's the Son of God. Okay, boom, whack. They chop your head off, and then you go to heaven. So you can go to heaven that way. I mean, wouldn't you? It's kind of like the whole. It's kind of like the flaw of the Mormon Church, where they believe that they believe that the only way to Christ is by being a Mormon. It's not through Christ, it's through being a Mormon. If you're not a Mormon, then you don't go to heaven. And so they believe that all the non-Mormons that die, this is Catholics, Baptists, of course, Muslims, Jews, whatever, Buddhists, atheists, agnostics, everyone who dies who's not a Mormon, you don't go to heaven and you don't go to hell. You don't go to Judgment Day yet because that's a whole different time thing. That's a whole different thing. But you go to, I don't think they call it purgatory. They might call it purgatory. I forget, but they have a name for it. And I've been out of the Mormon Church so long, I forget a lot of this shit. But they basically, the way I always thought of it, there's this huge like waiting room where you just go and you're just waiting for the end of the world, I guess. And then that's why they do the baptizing for the dead. And I was one of the ones that I did that when my short time as a Mormon. I was really only officially a Mormon for a couple of years, I guess. And I was at this age. I was I think I was still in high school. I think I was, I don't know, 15 or 16. Maybe I was 16. I don't know. I forget. And they took a group of us boys from the church. We all had to pass a test. I was baptized, and we all had to pass a test that we were sufficiently Mormon enough, following the Mormon rules. And then they took a van, a big, those big passenger vans of us like 16-year-olds, I think, down to the Los Angeles Mormon temple is the one we went to. And we baptized for the dead. And what you do is you go in, there's like these changing rooms, you put your garments on and your robe. Well, we didn't wear undergarments, but I never did buy garments, the actual Mormon garments. I never did get those. And they still let me in. They still let me do the thing. But you put on this like robe, a white robe, and then you go, and they had this big, it was really in the temple where the baptismal thing was for the dead. As I remember it, it was kind of down in like the basement, but it was huge. Oh, I mean, it was like huge. And it was like a big open pit. And you walk out on this kind of catwalk thing. It had handrails and stuff, but on either side, you look down and there's like a, I don't know, 80-foot drop or something. I mean, I just remember looking down and going, oh my God, it was just a straight drop. And this catwalk went out into the middle, and it was kind of like this big, as I recall, I think it was this like stainless steel. And it was like on a big kind of tower thing, a big stem. And then the baptismal, so kind of like a big bowl, but you would walk out to it, and there would be a bishop or whatever from the Mormon church, a couple of them. And one at a time, we would go out there, when it was our turn, we'd get into the baptismal tub, and then I think it was 3 dudes. One would be behind you and 2 on either side, I think. And I think they put their hands on your head or something, and they had a list of names. And I think each one of us had a list of like, I want to say like 200 people or something. It was like a lot of 200 people. And they would just read all these names. The names, they had to read the name of the person, where they were born, where they died, and what year they died. So it took a long time. I mean, to read off all those names, dates, and everything. I mean, you're in the water. You're getting definitely pruny at this point. Because the water wasn't cold. It was just lukewarm, I think. And so they read off all the names. And I remember the names were from England. All the ones I got were people that died in England. And I think it was like in the 1860s or 1870s or something like that, if I remember. That's the group I got. So they have to read all these names off, and then they say, in the name of Jesus, we baptize you or whatever, and then they baptize you. I think they read all the names off, and then they just baptize you. They don't dunk you like 200 times. That would be horrible. They only dunk you the one time. But after they read all those names, and then so they do some sort of prayer or whatever, and then you're done. Then you walk back to the changing room. Walk across that catwalk thing, back into the dressing room, and then you change back into your clothes. You dry off, get in your clothes, and then you walk down this other hallway, and this really long, scary hallway that reminds me of the fucking Shining. But everything's nice and kept up. It's all immaculate. But it's just this long, narrow hallway, and there's doors. And they tell you what door to go. Like, I think it had numbers on it. So you walk down this hallway that seemed like half a mile long, and you go into the door, and you go in, and then there's this room, this nice room. It's all carpeted and has fancy wallpaper, and it's kind of fancy. And there's a chair in the middle of the room. So you go in there and you sit on the chair, and then there's 3 more dudes, and like one behind you and one on each side of you. And I think they put again, hands on the head. One guy has a list. I think he's reading the list, and it's the same people that I baptized for. Now they read that same list all over again, but then it's like a confirmation. So you have to baptize, and then you have to do a confirmation. It's weird. I don't even get it. So you do that, and then you're done, and then you go and you wait for everybody to finish, and then we drive back to Victorville. But so that's what I did. That was in 1976 or something, probably. I don't even remember exactly. But so those people that you just got baptized for, then they get a message. They've been waiting in the waiting room somewhere, purgatory or whatever it's called, and they get a message and they say, "Hey, look, John just baptized for you. Do you want to accept it? Do you want to accept it? Because if you accept it, you're going to go to Mormon heaven. You might get your own planet. That's another thing. You might get you might just get your own planet, or whatever. Or you can reject it and you're gonna go to hell. Who's not gonna fucking at that point? There's no faith in right, because you're seeing it all happen. This is not about faith at this point. So who's not gonna fucking take the deal? You'd be like, yeah, fuck yeah, thank you, John. Thanks. Yeah, that would be thank you, John, because they were English. Thank you very much, John. I do appreciate you. But see you later. I'm going to go up to Mormon heaven. I don't know how I got on the Mormon thing. Oh, yeah, because we're talking about the rapture. And it's like once the rapture happens, and then there's supposed to be Armageddon, right? And then Jesus comes at some point, I think on a horse and a flaming sword or something. And I think he fights the Antichrist, and according to John, I think he beats him, and then Jesus rules the world for 1,000 years, and there's like 1,000 years of peace and tranquility, and it's beautiful for 1,000 years. And I guess there's 1,000 years of more people being able to come to Christ or whatever. I don't know. I'm not sure about the 1,000-year thing, but what the purpose is. I mean, it seems like at that point, everyone's just going to believe you anyhow. I thought the whole thing was about having faith, but anyhow. But I never did. Now, I will say, I never did hear anything about, how people are saying that the white nationalists, Christian nationalists, they want to start this war in Israel, or they want the shit to happen so that it will start, I guess, the rapture, and then they're going to kill all the Jews. I never heard anything about that, whether as a Mormon or as a Baptist, because I was a Mormon off and on, and also then I also became a Baptist. I got baptized in the Baptist church after I got baptized in the Mormon church. I left the Mormon church and I became a good old Baptist. It was Second Baptist, as a matter of fact, if that makes a difference. I think it maybe does a little bit, but I was with the Second Baptist church, and I got baptized in there. And they talked about Book of Revelation. They talked all that stuff too, the end times. I don't remember ever hearing anyone talking about like, we want to get the end of the times, and then when that happens, we can kill all the Jews or something. I never heard that, but I hear that a lot now on Hal's show and all these shows about how they only like the Jews. They only say they like the Jews so they can start the rapture or Armageddon or whatever. And and then the Jews will all be killed. But I've never heard that. I've always heard that the Jews were God's chosen people. That was what was being taught to me in the Baptist church, in Christian churches. I don't count the Mormon church really as a Christian church. I think it's a fake, totally fake church, and sounds like hypocritical. Like, I know I'm really hypocritical in this sense. Like if I'm agnostic, I mean, then shouldn't we should all be fake? And I get, but I do take as far as like, I don't think Mormonism is the same as Christianity. Although Christianity is probably all man-made also, and is not the inspired word of God. It's just something that people made up. Just like Joseph Smith made up the Mormon church. The only thing is Joseph Smith was an idiot. The people who wrote the Bible maybe were more scholarly or something. They seem to be better writers, much better writers. I tried to read the Book of Mormon. It was just hideous and boring, very boring, so boring. And it even then, even when I got baptized as a Mormon in the Mormon church, and I was going through all the, because you get missionaries coming over. Basically, what they do, they're just like salesmen, and where they just wear you down. You're feeling like, okay, fuck, I'll get baptized. But anyhow, so you go through the whole thing, and when I would read the Book of Mormon, I just thought, this just sounds like some dude who was trying to sound like the Bible. Like he was trying to sound like the King James version of the Bible. It sounded so fake and so plagiarized. But he would put different, it was supposed to be, instead of taking place in like the Middle East, it all took place in America. I think in North and Central, maybe in South America. I guess the Americas is where all this shit in the Book of Mormon takes place. The Lamanites and the Lehi, was it the Lehis? And I can't remember. But it just sounded like some dude just was making up shit. Even when I was a Mormon, I felt like that. Anyhow, all right, enough of that. Let me get back to the chat here. I don't know. MJ Daniel says, I remember a doctor called Tom Hartman from Canada a couple years back. Oh, it jumped, and I can't go back to it. Sorry, MJ. Catherine, Real Health Talk. Oh, damn it. Says the creation of America scam healthcare system has been since the 1890s. See, it's moving. I can't read it. Jill Bratton's here. Hey, Jill, good to see you. Jill says, we old dogs could learn new tricks. We was always socially liberal and couldn't vote for Hillary. Are you speaking in general terms, or are you saying you couldn't vote for Hillary? I voted for Hillary in 2016. I did not vote for her in 2008. However, I voted for Barack Obama. But I did vote for her in 2016 in the general election. Proudly, happily, actually. I did not even have to hold my nose. I was only too happy to vote for her. And I still to this day think she would have been an awesome president. Marcia says, babies don't stay in the womb. What is for children out of the womb? Or maybe that is for children out of the womb. Yeah, they don't become babies until they're out of the womb, I guess, basically. Or at least viable. Like, they're not viable until the very end there, the last few weeks. Catherine Hilltalk says, I couldn't have kids because of medical issues, but I knew that I never wanted kids anyway. Too many bad guys out there. So it worked out. It worked out for you. MJ Daniel says, doesn't the Bible say something about first breath for life or something like that? I think so, but I'm not sure. I'm not a scholar. I'm not a biblical scholar. I did try to read the Bible. I got through it one time. The Old Testament can be pretty brutal. Talk about it can get pretty boring. The New Testament is pretty cool. I like the New Testament. I mean, if you're into Jesus and the Jesus-y stuff, the New Testament is pretty cool and it's pretty easy reading. I could read that. I've read the New Testament probably all the way through. I don't know, 10 times or something. But I haven't done it in decades, so that's why I'm a little rusty. But and the Old Testament is really rough. That's some rough stuff, man. I mean, just the reading of it. I mean, the way it's written. It can get really boring and monotonous. You know. Catherine Real Hot Talk says there was a TV movie on years ago called "If These Walls Could Talk" about abortion and bad medical care with it. Ugh. MJ Daniel says, I saw something around 7 million Democrats that did vote for Biden did not vote this time. How is that working for them? I know. I just wish the FAFO part, I wish the FO part of the FAFO part didn't affect all of us, but it does. DPD 5844 says, now, TJ, you know they don't give a damn about, period. I don't know why. The children or babies, because if they did, they would pass laws to protect children after they are born. Yeah, it's all about, in the womb. But yeah, once they're born, they don't give a fuck. You're absolutely right. Well, that's just more hypocrisy. More hypocrisy. Josh says, Catherine, there's loads of Republicans who support Democrat policies without the label. Yeah, if you take the label off, you'll find they're in support of it. But how do you get them to vote for the people that are in support of it? Because voting for Republicans isn't going to do the job. Roxanne says 3:23. I think I'm only 12 minutes behind now because I did kind of skip down a little bit. Josh says, Catherine, not the elected Republicans, but the voting base love their socialism when it's not called that. I harken back to the Tea Party days when they were saying, don't take away my Social Security, don't take away my Medicare. And they're Tea Party assholes that are voting for Republicans. Paul McSwibney is here. I've seen you here. I've seen you in here before. Thanks for being here. I just have a hard time saying the name, but I do appreciate you being here. Paul says, I'm going to rewind and listen in the bath. All porn is gay. Like I said, if it makes you happy, I think it's gay. Damon Dog says, here's what we do. Tell Trump that Obama went to school at the Electoral College and he'll dismantle it for us. Yeah, I think I saw that posted before. That's funny. Jill Bratton says, I studied bio in college, and gay is biological and can be reproduced in mice. Oh, you mean that sense of the word gay? I was talking about the other sense of the word gay. Fancy says the Chargers game was great. I remember watching it, and I don't even remember who they played. I was watching the game, Was it the Ravens? No, Ravens are playing tonight. It's funny. I watched the game, that Chargers game, and I don't remember. Jill Branton. Oh, I so think we will think American football is like the Gladiator someday. No, the Gladiators were actually killing people. I mean, they were actually feeding people to lions, and and having them be mauled and eaten in front of the crowd for the crowd to get their jollies off of. I don't really think. I don't think it's a fair comparison, really. Catherine Hill, TJ plays dirty. Uh, when I was usually 4 to 5 or 6 inches shorter, and probably at least 50 or 60 pounds lighter, and sometimes I was 100 pounds lighter than all the guys I played against, you develop some techniques. Otherwise, you don't play for very long. I made it to college. I made it to 4-year college, as far as I made it to. I was 6 foot tall, 225, playing D line. Most of the offensive linemen that I would go against, especially the tackles, were 6'4", 6'5", 6'6", 280, 290, a lot of 300 pounders, 320, 330 pounders, you know, and there I am at 225. So what I had for me was I was quick and I was strong. And I had a really good right hook that I could, well, I wouldn't call it a right hook, but I had a really good right shove. It was a shove technique that I kind of developed. I mean, because I was bench pressing 500 pounds. So I had some really great upper body strength. My lower body was pretty strong too. But I had some really great upper body strength. And I was surprised how at the very last year especially, I got really strong, and how with my technique, I was knocking guys just over, guys that were 6'6", 330. I was knocking them over, you know, and getting to the quarterback. And I really thought I had a shot at getting a pro tryout, because we had the pro scouts every day, not for me, but we had a lot of players on our team. A couple of them went pro, went NFL. I thought I might have had a shot of getting, if not getting drafted, at least getting an invite to a camp. But then I had something else come up, and I don't even want to talk about it. I had something else come up, and I've talked about it before. I don't want to talk about it. It just brings up too many bad memories. So I'm going to skip it. Catherine Hilltalk says Bears actually won. Shocking, but I didn't watch it. Oh yeah, the Bears, didn't they kill the Cowboys? They stomped all over the Cowboys, I think, right? Josh, if we have to talk about sports, I'm going to talk about weed. Well, it never stopped you before. Notorious GRG is here. Hey, Notorious, good to see you. Thanks for coming on in. Notorious GRG says, this is off topic, but this news I just heard is a bit scary. Iran just announced the launch of their ICBM with a range capable of putting the U.S. East Coast under an Iranian missile attack. Not good. Yeah, I mean, that sucks. That totally sucks. I think we can squarely put this at the blame of Donald Trump, who the first thing he did in his first term was kill that agreement, right? The nuclear agreement. So this is another thing. As I know, it's like as we're all dying of radiation poisoning or from nuclear bombs, we can blame fucking Donald Trump. Jorgen Johansson is here. Says American football, where you throw the ball in Europe, we call that handball. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why they decided to call it football back in the day, but it is what it is, and it's been called that for over 100 years. So I'm not changing at this point. You know, MJ Daniel says that the 1970s Raiders, like Lyle Lozado, would put aluminum foil under the tape on their hands and use their thumbs to jab other players, things like that. I never did that. I never did anything like that. I wasn't dirty, and I was never dirty like that. And I really wasn't dirty. I just hit hard. I just learned how to hit hard. You know, and in the right places. But I never stuck people. I remember playing in high school. There might have been some other teams. But I know I specifically remember playing the fucking Cajon High School Cowboys. I think they were. I don't know, but and they definitely had something in their tape or in their pads, because I was getting. I kept feeling these like stabs and like I was little stings, and then other guys were complaining too, and they're like, people were saying, yeah, they put razor blades in their tape or something, or they did something. I don't know if the refs ever caught it. I don't remember them catching it, but I remember we were complaining about it, and I had little cuts on me. I was getting cut up. So all you Cajon High School players from the 70s, you can go fuck yourselves. Cajon High School. If you were doing that kind of shit, you guys can go fuck yourselves. Bethany Arbaugh says, I watch more college ball than professional. I watch Ohio State. I watched the Bengals with Joe Burrow. And the Bengals got beat pretty bad, I think, didn't they, yesterday? Was it the Bengals that got beat? I think so. Maybe not. I'm going to skip that one. Jill Branton, chocolate and coffee are from outside the U.S. and subject to tariffs. And I still haven't gone shopping. I went to 7-Eleven and got this coffee this morning. It's a 3-minute walk. It's very, very, so it's not too bad because I'm out of coffee. But I've been hearing people saying that from visit to visit of shopping, coffee each time it's just going up crazy in price. I'm kind of skipping down. I know I'm really far behind. I did 2 long stories today, the Mormon story, and I guess, well, mainly the Mormon story, and I guess a little bit about football. So I'm kind of behind in the chat here. Jorgen Johansson says that Jill Branton, sorry, but I'm Swedish and support Ukraine 100%. It's you that is Russia, since Putin is your new leader. Well, I'll just tell you that I support Ukraine 100%, and many of us in America. We do. We really do. But you're right. We have this asshole president who is like Putin's little puppet. And I apologize for that. I'm sorry for that. I'm sorry that we have unleashed Donald Trump on the world, because this is dangerous. This isn't joking. This is dangerous shit. And the sooner we can get rid of that motherfucker, the better. But here, I have this. Here. I support the people of Ukraine. Just want you to know, I do support Slava Ukraini all the way, 100%. Fuck Putin, fuck Russia, and fuck Trump. Fuck them all. Sandy Phillips says chocolate glazed donuts are really good. Yeah, I like a good one if they're using like real chocolate and not those cheap ones that use like wax or something, I guess. But yeah, if you can find a good donut that makes with real chocolate, then yeah, that's the good stuff. Sandy Phillips, Jellyfield and custard donut. Yeah, I like those too. Yeah, those are good donuts. Just kind of skipping down. I know I'm kind of behind, and I'm skipping down. I'm trying to find something that isn't too much of a mid-thread type of thing. You know, I know you guys are talking about Jimmy Kimmel a lot, it looks like, and Jimmy Fallon maybe, and late night talk shows and all that kind of stuff. But I'm kind of mid-thread. I don't know if I want to just jump into that. I do think that for the president of the United States to use his power to influence, you know, the FCC or whomever, to put pressure on a broadcasting company to take someone off the air just because they don't like what they said, that is a definite violation of our First Amendment. And it is the onset of, you know, authoritarianism here in America. So that's all I got to say about that, I think. Sandy Fold says, TJ, you can go to church anytime, but you need to find a church. I'm done with church, Sandy. I'm done with church. Church. I'm done with church. I'm an agnostic. And then there's people that they start these things, or they have these things that are like, it's like church for agnostics or something. I don't know if they call it church, but there are these things. I guess people are just sociable. And because I've seen it where there are people try to invite me to go to this, and I guess they sing songs and they do things. It's very church-like, but they just get together and then I guess it's just good. I guess like-minded people getting together. But I had no interest in that. I'm like, fuck that. One of the things I hate about church is that I had to go to church. I like to be home. I want to watch football. Fuck that. I don't want to go out to. I got to get showered up and put on my church clothes and my church shoes. I guess in these agnostic ones, maybe you don't have to do all that, but you know, fuck that. I don't want to be on a schedule. Like I got to be there. Oh, yeah, the services are starting at 10 a.m. Fuck you. Fuck that shit. One of the great things about being agnostic or even atheist is you don't got to go to church. That might be the best. That might be the single best reason to be either an agnostic or an atheist. You don't have to go to church, and you don't have to feel guilty about not going to church. Reno says, nobody wears pants in heaven. It's Epstein. I know that's another thing. Like, I guess we all have our visions of heaven, and mine must be influenced by. As a child, I think there's paintings or illustrations that I think I saw, and probably lots of have seen it, where you're in this it's sort of like everything's kind of the floor looks like it's cloudy. Right? Everyone's sort of in this big cloud, and everyone is just kind of gathered around, but everyone's wearing a white robe. Everyone's wearing a white robe. And then there might be, if you think of God, there's sort of a throne kind of way up there, kind of in the background, or down a ways, and it's a raised platform, and there's this throne, and there's God, sometimes sitting, in my mind, sometimes sitting, sometimes standing, but white robe, white beautiful hair. It's the things that you see like Michelangelo or whoever. White beautiful hair, white, just beautiful full beard, a Phil Ittner beard or whatever, but white. And then next to him is Jesus, and Jesus is a little bit smaller, and maybe has brown hair. He still, he didn't go gray yet. And then there's the Holy Ghost that's just flying around like a madman, but like a dove. I think I see the Holy Ghost as like a dove. Because I think I read that in the Bible or something, like a dove or something. And that's how I picture heaven. Everyone just standing there and having a good time, mingling. We're all wearing white robes. I don't even know if we have sandals on because we're in clouds. We're just kind of floating in the clouds. So, but we're all in our white robes, just mingling. No drink. We don't need a drink. No drinks in our hands. No hors d'oeuvres. No one's passing around anything. We don't need that in heaven. You don't need drink. You don't need food. Apparently, you just need to mingle. You're just mingling. Hey, it's walking through heaven with your robe. So I don't know, like maybe is it who's the greeter? The door greeter of heaven? Is it Gabriel? The angel Gabriel? I think probably passes out the robes. Like if you get in. It's like, here's your robe. Please put it on very quickly because you're gross. No. Of course we won't be gross. We'd all be beautiful. But that must be the deal. That's probably what whoever that archangel is, or not archangel. I'm really rusty on my Bible stuff. Whoever's there greeting people at the pearly gates is probably handing out the robes. That's how that's my little vision of heaven. What's your guys' vision of heaven? I think everyone has one, even if you're not a believer. I think almost everyone has a vision of heaven or afterlife, even if you don't believe there's an afterlife. Even the atheists that don't believe there's an afterlife. And I kind of lean that way too, that there's nothing. But we still have a vision of heaven. I think just by the influence of all religion all around us, we have some sort of vision, or that we envision in our brains. Let's see. I'm skipping down a little bit here. Sandy Fold says a person that goes to church is a good person. I believe there are good people that go to church. I also believe there are bad people that go to church. And I believe there are good people that don't go to church, and there are bad people that don't go to church. I don't think just going to church makes you good, in other words, I guess. John Glad, the Mormons follow the teachings of Joseph Smith. Hey, John Glad, good to see you, by the way. Yeah, Joseph Smith is the one who started the Mormon Church. He wrote the Book of Mormon. I mean, he claims that he found these golden plates, and they had these hieroglyphic markings on them, and he had some sort of magical rock, and he kind of would rub it over the thing, and then he would translate it, or he had people transcribing, I think, as he was speaking, and then that's how he started the Book of Mormon, and started the church. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is actually the full name. Yeah, I'm familiar with Joseph Smith. Reno says, yeah, after 3 days or something, I don't know. Kimmel returned. Amen. Is he back? Is he back? Joe Breton says, Yakov Isharazov, I'm an atheist because growing up Christian and looking at wars were religious. Be your best Jew. Gaza is not your fault or most of Israel. I saw a clip. I forget who it was that mentioned this. I forget which one it was now. Where Israel is no longer admitting or claiming that they've only killed 40,000 people or 50,000 people. I think they're now Israel coming out of the Israeli camp. They're admitting that they've killed over 100,000. I think, or no, I think it was more than that. I think it was 200,000 people. Unbelievable, unfucking believable. Chris Doug says, oddly enough, I don't think this is odd, but anyways, Chris Doug says, oddly enough, many Christian Protestant denominations, including the one I was raised in, do not acknowledge Mormonism as a legitimate religion. I won't mention the church I was raised in, but ... I don't know if there was more to come, but I don't think they should include it. I would put the Jehovah's Witnesses in there too. There was a whole bunch of these churches that popped up around the same time. They even have a name for this period. I don't remember the name now. Where these churches popped up and they were just made by people that just started these churches. And they're not just churches. They're like a whole different brand of Christianity. They're not really traditional Christianity. And I don't really talk too much about Jehovah's Witnesses or Seventh-day Adventists all that much because I was never one of them. But I was a Mormon. I was a convert. And so I feel I can speak about my experience. And I could understand why other Protestant denominations don't acknowledge Mormonism as a legitimate religion because a lot of it is antithetical, I think, to the Bible. And I think the Bible says that there should be no other, there should be no other word than the Bible. And the Mormons they 100% believe in the Book of Mormon. They read the Book of Mormon over the Bible. They put that over the Bible. They read that more than the Bible. And all of it, there's like Pearls of Great Price. There's Joseph Smith wrote like 4 or 5 books. There's the Code of Conducts, Pearls of Great Price, the Book of Mormon, of course. There's a couple other ones, and they put all that shit way. That's more important to them than the actual Bible. So I don't blame Protestant denominations not recognizing the Mormon Church as a legitimate. I mean, I guess legitimate. I guess the term is I guess they are a legitimate religion in the sense that they formed a church in which people are, it's a probably a First Amendment right. You can form a church, so they're legitimate in that sense, but I don't think they're legitimate as far as Christianity is concerned. I don't see them as a Christian church. If I were still a Christian, I would be saying things like the Mormon Church is a cult and that it is of the devil. That's what I would be saying. But since I'm more of an agnostic now, why do I don't even give a fuck. Let's see. Jorgen Johnson says, That Jesus story with virgin birth and so on is told in 15 civilizations before ours and is all about the sun that man always have worshipped. If you want to see God, sun walk on water, it does daily 6 p.m. Yeah, I've heard stuff like that too. That the Savior story, the virgin birth story, is not original to Christianity, and that it's been around. It's been recycled many times. DPD 5844 says, when I was a child, and see how long we. Oh, I'm over 2 hours already. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, I'm way over 2 hours already. See, I get to yapping about certain things, and then time just flies. Chris Doug says, to all us Mormons. Oh wait, to us, all Mormons are going to hell for changing the gospel for profit and power. Brigham Young and Joseph Smith are considered fornicators and profiteers. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. Joseph Smith was a fucking con man. He was a con man, and Brigham Young was a ruthless con man. Brigham Young was a son of a bitch. Okay, I'm skipping way down because I need to, end the show here pretty soon. Reno says, I remember asking back in the dressing room, hey, what the camera's for? See, I'm mid-thread. I just sort of needle dropped this. I have no idea what I just walked into with that one there. Josh says, I had an encounter with Scientologists once. That was a long story. Yeah, I put Scientologists in with that totally fake, made-up thing. I think, was it L. Ron Hubbard? Probably a better writer than Joseph Smith, but a writer, a fantasy fiction writer nonetheless. Jill Branton, speaking of cults, maybe MAGA. We're talking about MAGA, Scientology, LDS, the Moonies. Yeah, they're all cults. I believe that. I agree. Jorgen Johansson says religion is only for master people threatening with hell, and they want their fucking 10th without doing a fucking thing. There is no hell, and souls don't burn. They're eternal. Mammon is their god. I was trying to do sort of a Norwegian accent. I'm half Norwegian, so I can do that. I'm allowed, right? I'm like half Norwegian. So I can do that. I can try to do the thing with the accent. And I don't even know if you're Norwegian. I'm just, I'm just being a dick. I'm just being a dick. Catherine Real Health Talk says I was a little D, and Jehovah's Witnesses tried to recruit me. A little. I'm trying to think what D was. A little. I don't know. In Chicago Park, my 6'3" Irish dad came running and lost his shiznit. And it sounds to me, at 6'3", you don't want the dude losing his shiznit. MJ Daniel says, I do not think Jesus would be very happy with many Christians right now if he did come back. He might be turning over some tables all over the place. Can you guys still hear me? Is this thing on? Testing. Yaakov Eshazev says the Christian nationalists believe the BS. They do believe it. They believe it wholeheartedly. Chris Doug says, my father was a member of the First Church of Christ, scientist, but my mom took us to her church. She did not share his religious beliefs. I've heard of Christian scientists I don't believe I've ever gone to any of those churches, so I'm not exactly sure what their take on Christianity is. Yaakov Ishra says that's why they're supporting Netanyahu and his genocidal government. Talking about uh, the white nationalists, the MAGA, that's who we're talking about. Okay, I'm skipping down, guys. I'm skipping a lot down, so just to get through to the end before I end the show. Michelle is here. Says hey all. So Michelle, thanks for coming on in. I do appreciate you. Guys, make sure you like, subscribe, and share. If you do that for me, that would be great. We're up over 4,060 subscribers. We just got to 4,000, and we're already at 4,060. Thanks for being here. Thanks for sharing the show. If you guys want to become members, we have memberships for $1.99 a month, and that does go a long way to helping keep the show going. If you want to consider that, and we have super chats and super stickers and all that kind of stuff. Catherine Hill, Real Health Doc says Jews don't believe in hell. Last I heard, so what? So that wouldn't work anyway. Yeah, I heard that too. They didn't believe in hell. Mark Krasner's here. Hey, Mark, good to see you. I'm just sort of, like I say, I'm sort of just needle dropping, and I'm mid-thread on a lot of the conversations, so I don't know how to respond or how to get involved with it at this point. But Mark Krasner says, "How do you know they didn't vote since Louis DeJoy was head of the post office?" So I don't know if you're talking about vote-in balloting, mail-in balloting. I'm not sure if that was what that was about or not. Jorgen Johansson says, Bible is no science. It's a man-made fairy tale book with no gods involved, written for master people, just like Quran. Try to read another book and question things instead of being a sheep. And you're entitled to your opinion. And not that I don't agree with a lot of that, because I think I do agree with most of that. But everyone's entitled to their own beliefs. Jill Brandt says, gay being the word makes you happy. I'm so happy. I'm so happy and witty and gay. Or however that song goes. I'm going to skip down, guys. Skip it on down. Did I see Robert? Robert Perez is here. Johnny, what happened to the Rams? They scored 26 points and froze. Well, first of all, hello, Robert Perez from down San Diego way. Good to see you. It was just, I talked about it earlier. They were dominating the reigning, defending Super Bowl champions. They were playing pretty well, even in the second half when they weren't really scoring. They were still making good defensive plays. They were getting good stops. And I think that the defense was still playing well enough that all they had to do was get one more fucking field goal, even before that last block. If they had got the one before that was blocked, it would have been enough to keep them ahead. And the defense was playing well enough to slow them down, to slow the Eagles down enough that they wouldn't have enough time for the comeback. But those two block kicks, it just killed them. And I don't know why they, like I said, that second block kick, I don't know why the Rams didn't do something, change something, adjust something. You just can't let them do that twice like that. That was just crazy. But, we shake it off. 24-hour rule. We're almost at 24 hours, I guess, since the game. You shake it off. and you move on to the next one. I think we're playing Indy Colts next, who are 3-0. So they're off to a good start. But we just got to shake it off and get after the Colts. Susie Jones is here. Hey, Susie. Good. And Kim Chi is here. Hey, good to see you. I did skip down, so I might not have seen you guys when you first came in, but thanks for being here. I appreciate you, Kim Chi and Susie Jones. Susie Jones says voting with your dollars works. Show returning tomorrow. Oh, wow. So is Kimball's coming back on tomorrow? Really? Wow. I didn't know that. Good. Now I can watch clips because I never watched the show. I only watch clips. Bethany Arbaugh says basketball players can play dirty, pushing. Yeah, I mean, what's dirty and what's not dirty? A little pushing and a little shoving, I don't think is dirty. There's dirty and then there's dirty, or there's pushing and shoving and then there's dirty. Jolie says I have to go. Thanks, John. Thank you, Jolie. I know you're probably long gone by now. I'm probably a half hour behind in the chat, but maybe cosmically or something, my gratitude, my thanks for you being here, you'll get that message. But I deeply appreciate and grateful for your help, for being here. Let's see. Susie Jones says, I just want to pop in and tell you the good news. I have company. Oh, okay. So I guess it was the good news, the Kimmel thing. Not that you have company. I mean, but yeah, good. You're probably gone already, but thanks, Susie, for being here. Bethany says, me too, Trucker John. I'm an agnostic. Barbara Nichols, Trucker John, but Kimmel is back. Okay, he's back. He's back. Well, you know what? That doesn't negate anything I said about the First Amendment and pressure by the president and all that stuff. That doesn't negate any of that. We had another thing, guys, happen. Not that I don't support Ukraine, because I do. I still support Ukraine. I'm just not sure if I had enough room to put both things up here. But we had this happen over the weekend. We had stuff like this happening. Disney website experiencing crashes amid cancellations. They were losing so much money from people canceling, and I guess that was causing their stock to drop. And I don't know if it was Marcellus, one of those brothers, or where I saw it, but they were saying like every point that they drop in the stock market was like over $1 billion that they were losing. So this worked too. And like we said, the power of the purse, power of your feet, this type of stuff works too. To maybe we're always trying to think of how can we counteract Trump. How can we fight back? We don't have the numbers in Congress. How can we fight back? Well, right there. Power of the purse, people. Power of the purse. Search for you. Texas Paul is my church. Yeah, he's on Sundays. Yeah, and I think Brian on Sundays, right? I did catch a lot of the Texas Paul show on replay because I was watching football. I did catch most of his show, I think, on replay. I didn't watch any of Brian's yesterday. It was just too much football. My son got me in. He started a fantasy football league. I haven't played fantasy football in years and years. And my son started one. So, and he asked me if I'd be in it. And I said, yeah, sure. And so yesterday was our first day of fantasy football. And we just did the draft on Saturday night. We did our draft. And then, so yesterday we were all in a group text and just we were watching the games and commenting. And so it was fun. I had fun doing that. Oh, St. Peter, Aaron. Yeah, what did I say? Gabriel or some bullshit. Yeah, thank you, Aaron. St. Peter. So I think St. Peter is the door greeter with the robes. Or he might have assistants, some assistants, because that's a lot of robes, and you might have a big group come in, at the same time, and you know. Kimchi says that Neti is the greeter of the underworld in Mesopotamia. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Do we not want to? I guess we don't want to go to is the underworld hell? Kimchi? I don't want to offend. Mad Max here. Mad Mac, Slava Ukraini to Mad Mac. I lost my pizza cutter, so I used a Brian Adams CD. It cuts like a knife. Joe Bratton says, nope, we just become worm food and not like RFKs. I agree with that, Jill, but I also agree. I'm agnostic enough to at least say that I don't think anyone knows. No one knows for sure what happens after we die. I'm leaning towards it's just lights out and we're done. I'm leaning towards that, but I'm also, like I say, I'm agnostic enough to just say nobody knows for sure. Nobody. And you want to believe, you're entitled to believe what you want to believe. Just don't try to force your belief onto me or onto others. You can believe what you want, fine, but don't get on other people because they believe something different. We're all free to believe what we want to believe. Jill Brett, nope, we don't respect Mormons because you are F. I don't know what that means. Courtney says they found out that Tylenol is why Barron is retarded. Courtney, and that was funny. That was funny, but we don't want to use the R word. We really don't. But that was funny, because you saw that I laughed. But we're not really supposed to use the R word, and here's why. In case you're wondering, there might be people in this chat or people who come in later who have a child with a learning disability or a mental disability, and it can be pretty insensitive to them. That's why we don't say the R word. But it was funny, and you made me laugh. So, and I don't think you meant it like in a really super bad way. We used to say the R word all the time back in the 60s and 70s, but I understand why it's become, on the list of words we don't use like that, because of what I just said about being sensitive to families and folks that have kids or people in their lives that have these mental learning disabilities, and it could be hurtful to them if we're just calling everything the R word. Like my fridge broke down. My fridge is R worded. You know what I mean? And then, but then they have a child or that they are raising, and a special needs child, and they're going through all the extra work that a special needs person would have on them, and then people are using that word. So that's why. But I think still I laughed and it was funny, and I don't think you meant it particularly in a hurtful way. I'm just skipping down, guys. Didn't guys? I'm skipping down. Chris Doug says the story of Jesus is based entirely on the Roman god Mithras. Immaculate conception, sacrifice, and resurrection. And then Dyer? Maybe that meant like duh or something. I don't know. Like I said, yeah, the Jesus story is a recycled story. Jorgen Johansson says Norwegians is my neighbors. I'm Swedish. Okay, Jorgen. Howdy, neighbor. I'm Norwegian. Norwegian American. I'm half Norwegian. I've never been to Norway actually in my life. But hello. Susie Jones, I think we're going back to either Joseph Smith or Brigham Young. When Susie says he wanted to practice polygamy, which was forbidden by Christianity and Masons. That's why they moved all the way fuck out to Utah. They were trying to get away as far from the federal government, from D.C. as they could. But D.C., through the what was it? The mandate or the oh man, coffee went down the wrong throat. I have two throats apparently, the wrong pipe. But anyhow, the federal government caught up to them finally, and they had to change their little polygamy ways. Robert Perez says, "Have you seen those Mormon commercials on YouTube? They are spooky." I remember they had a big ad campaign a while back. Aaron West is reminding everyone we have channel memberships. Yes, and they start at $1.99 a month, guys. I can't overemphasize the value you get. Because someday we are going to be doing some members only Monday shows at some point. And also we have super chats, and you can support the show by liking, subscribing, and sharing, which is a huge way, and that is completely free. Or you can buy me a coffee at that Buy Me a Coffee link. And I also have a PayPal account, and you can go there too. And so any way you can support the show would be greatly, greatly appreciated. Chris Doug says Smith and Young were just polygamists. They married and impregnated girls as young as 11 years of age. Deplorable. So not only were they polygamists, they sound like they were pedophiles also. If what you say is true, Chris Doug. And I have no reason to doubt that. But yeah, they were polygamists and con men, because they conned a lot of people, especially Joseph Smith. He ended up getting murdered. He was in jail, and I think they lynched him. I forget now. I think he got shot, and I think they lynched him. He pissed off a lot of people, this Joseph Smith, because he was a con man and a ripoff artist. And he was probably fucking all their women, or whatever. So, yeah, he ended up, I think, shot and hanged. Jill Branton says, great bunch of commenters. Been a good place to be. Thank you, Jill Branton. I appreciate that. And I hope you come back. We are on every day, Monday through Saturday, right here on this very same YouTube channel. Come on back. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. Tuesdays and Thursdays are 9 a.m. Pacific time. So a good way to remember that, I guess, is that the two that start with T, like Tuesdays and Thursday, we start earlier. We start 2 hours earlier at 9 a.m. Pacific time. And just remember, I am in the Pacific time zone, so I always do my times in the Pacific time zone. But then the other days we're on at 11. So I hope you come back, Jill. What do they say at AA? Like, come on back, or whatever. Keep coming. Just like, hey, I think I saw Michael McAndrews. Thank you, Michael, for being here. Good to see you. I did kind of skip over you. Kimchi says the only good thing about Mormonism is their own incredible genealogy records. And the reason they do I think the reason they do the genealogy is just for that baptizing of the dead. That's where all that genealogy comes from. That's how I got the names, or the names that they provided of the people that I was baptized for were from people from England in the 1870s. They had their name, their date of birth, and their date of death, and their city. I don't know if that was the city they were born in or the city they died in, but they would list the city, and most of them were like London, because that's how I knew they were England. And that's why they do that genealogy, so they can do those baptizing for the dead. And maybe there's some other things, but mainly that's it. And they are very thorough, and a lot of non-Mormons utilize their records when they're doing their genealogy, to do their own genealogy. But you're right, Kimchi. Yeah, that is probably the only good thing about them, about that church. I guess you can always find something good, right? Just another thing I didn't put up yet, and I'll just put it up. We didn't really talk about it, but there's this Jack Smith. This came out over the weekend. Dropped a new document that shows that the Trump campaign paid for travel, hotels, expenses, and organizing efforts to bring outside radical organizers to the Capitol on January 6th. Trump and his lackeys planned the assault on our Capitol. Jack Smith, a new document from the Jack Smith investigations, is showing that, and that should be a big story. Don't you agree? And here we are again with Josh's theory of Fifth Avenue. This is another Fifth Avenue thing. Trump can finance and organize the Jan 6 insurrectionists and get away with it. Just like shooting somebody on Fifth Avenue. He can get away with that. And I'm tired of Trump getting away with this shit. I really am. We should not be here. Jill Branton, welcome to Driver. Thank you, Jill. Thank you so much. Yippee! Jill, in case you don't know, whenever someone does a membership or a super chat or a super sticker or they gift memberships, I give you a yippee. So I don't want you to think that I was like being like a jerk or something. That's just what I do. I always give you a yippee. Like it's sincere. It's not like insincere. Thank you, Jill. Thank you so much for being a member. Welcome to the club. Welcome to the Driver's Lounge. Barbara Nicholas says, yes, it was discussed in your chat while you described your baptism for an hour. It wasn't quite an hour, but okay, I know. Well, I mean, and actually that wasn't my baptism. I was baptizing for other people. I mean, I thought that was interesting because there's a lot of people, they don't know what goes on in the Mormon church. They don't even know about this baptizing for the dead thing. And whenever I tell people, they're usually like, oh my God, that sounds like something out of the fucking Shining or something, or, some horror movie. Kimchi says the underworld to them is just a blah version of life. Like the Egyptians and Chinese, you must give them offerings for their stay. Mark Lung's here. Hey, Mark Lungo. Hey, Mark, good to see you. Thanks for coming on in. I do appreciate you. Mark says, I have a cousin with a learning disability. Yeah, see there. So, I mean, it's just out of respect for the family and also the people that actually do have these learning disabilities, and our word has become derogatory and in the way it was used, and so that's all. I don't mean to be preachy or whatever. Kimchi says, I have fetal alcohol spectrum disorder and still smarter than most, but I will never be a spy or mechanic because I don't get spatial orientation. Call me the R word. I laugh in your face. Well, that's a good way to handle it, I think, that can be a good way. Roxanne79 says Hurricane Daisy is coming over. Just spend the night soon. Close all the doors. I think I'm ready. I know you love that dog, Roxanne. Okay, guys, I am way over. Oh my gosh. I am way over. We're going to run out of battery real soon. I'm at 2 hours and 49 minutes, so I got to end the show, guys. I'm having such a good time talking with you guys. I really am having a great time. Time flies when you're having fun. I guess I was having fun. So I apologize if I went on my own tangents and maybe it was just stuff you weren't interested in. I don't know. But all right, guys. Thanks for being here. Thanks for all the likes and the subscribes and the sharing and everything. We didn't get anything on our goal, but maybe there's always tomorrow. Maybe we could meet the goal tomorrow. That would be great. Because it does help out the show, helps us keep going. Make sure we get subscribers and members, and all that stuff helps. Mad Mac the Horde, R word. I thought you meant was Republican. Yeah, well, yeah, that's another one. But we can say that word. I don't care if I offend the Republicans. Unless they are. No. Jim Brad says it was interesting about getting into the Mormon Church, having spent some time in with others. Do respect Islam movement. Steven Sayre says be enjoyable. Hey Steve, good to see you. Yeah, well, I think we should be respectful, of everyone. That doesn't mean we have to believe what they believe, and we don't have to, but still be respectful and allow people to have their own faith and believe what they want to believe, as long as they're not hurting anybody. That's the main thing. All right, guys, I got to go. The battery's going to die, so I just got to end this. I'm sorry. No Tough Cookie, no Paul, the Purple Beard guy, none of that. I don't have time. The battery's going to die, and so, What do you mean there's no time for me? There's always time for Tough Cookie. Always time for Tough Cookie. You son of a bitch. We trying to cut me out of the show? No way. No, just know that if all of a sudden the screen goes black, that's because Trucker John's battery went dead. And he's stupid because he doesn't know how to charge a phone, apparently. I don't know. Anyhow, thanks for being here. I just want to say a quick thing before the battery does die, but we'll see you guys tomorrow. And me too, real quick. Bye, guys. Thanks for being here. I do appreciate you. And guys, thank you so much for being here. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. And if you haven't already, and share the show and tell everyone else to come here and check out Trucker John. Just because, I don't know, but just do it, please. Oh, thank you. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. I gotta go. We're just gonna do quick words of wisdom, and then we're done. And I'll see you guys tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific time. Okay. All right. So for today's words of wisdom, write this down. Words of wisdom are as follows. So, guys, just always.
Well, it's time to say goodbye. The show has come to an end. But don't be sad, no, don't you cry. We're all gonna come back and meet again. Have some fun times, hopefully nothing too bad. We might talk about war crimes, might talk about Baghdad. I doubt we'll talk about door chimes, but if we did, I'd be only too glad. So hasta la vista, baby. The show is over, but could I ask you maybe to take a shower? No, that's not what I meant, but I couldn't think of anything to rhyme with over. Now my whole rhyming scheme is all screwed So I hope to see y'all again right here on the Trucker John live stream. We're gonna do it again and again, right here in the Trucker John live stream. Yeah, the Trucker John live stream. We're gonna come back and do it all again. No, this ain't no dream. This is where we win. Right here on the Trucker John live stream. No, it's time to say goodbye. The show is coming in. But don't be sad, no, don't you cry. We're all gonna come back and meet again. Rolling down the highway in my rusty old rig. I'm a retired trucker, but my spirit's still big. Living in Vegas, where the lights never sleep. Broadcasting my thoughts for the world to keep. From politics to pop culture, I've got it all. Sharing my views, no matter how big or small. Talking about food, the movies and bugs. Shining a light on all the social issues. No shows, I've driven through the desert, seen the city so bright. But now I'm living in a different kind of fight. From my apartment in Las Vegas, I hold the key, exploring the world through my live stream for free. In my apartment in Las Vegas, I hold the key, exploring the world through my live stream for free. So you want to take a trip down Paradise Road, but it ain't that pretty, it ain't paved with gold. Everybody's got the dirty little secrets, everybody's got some things unknown. But if you ain't real careful, baby, it'll cut you down to the bone. Under all those bright lights, you've gotta learn to ignore the glitter. It's all about fight or flight, and you don't wanna do either. So go on down to Paradise Road, it'll make you wish that you were young. But all it'll do is make you feel old and regret trading in your love for lust. It's all just a big charade, it's all just one big game, and it ain't about love. It's all about the thrills. It's about staying in the hunt. It's about going in for the kill. So head on down to Paradise Road. That's where your friends are now. They're the people that nobody knows. So go ahead and make your big show. So live it up on Paradise Road. Just don't let anyone know. It'll be your dirty little secret. It'll be your guilty little pleasure. Living a secret that the whole world sees, hiding in plain sight among the scum and the thieves. It's so damn hard to ever be pleased. Everyone wants to live the good life. everybody wants a piece of paradise. But where would you run? Where would you hide? What would you do to buy a little more time? Grandiose dreams of happily ever after are really just another day's end. And when the sun goes down, you just lay there wondering, can you really do it all again? You're praying for one last shot, you're hoping for one last big win. Paradise Road is calling, so you better hurry along. Paradise Road is calling, so you better hurry along.
Show's over. I'm out of here, folks. Bye.